Hi, I'm Christina Heideck here at PTO Answers, and I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk to you about something. I know I've been feeling this way, and I bet it's that time of the school year when I bet you're feeling the same way too. And I'm talking about being either overwhelmed or maybe even burnt out. And while I'll have to admit, I'm really not burnt out, but last week I was super overwhelmed because I was in charge of excuse me, getting over a little cold, probably caused by all of this overwhelm. I was in charge of a 6th grade dance on Friday, and then less than 12 hours later, I was in charge of the kitchen at for my youngest school's carnival. So tired I can't even talk. So anyway, two pretty big events, kind of back to back, where I played a major role, and all of this on top of work and my other volunteer obligations and my family. So it was kind of a lot. And so anyway, right now, the reason I think I'm feeling this way is one, there were two major events, and also two, we're like 2 weeks out from spring break, and I'm sure I'm sure you're probably getting close to spring break too, if you're not already on it. I know there's a couple schools around in my area actually have school break or spring break now, which I think is kind of crazy early, but whatever, works for them. So anyway, one of the things you can do if you are feeling really overwhelmed right now is to make a plan. That's kind of what I had to do last week. I woke up Wednesday morning and I'm like, crap, I am totally out of time to do XYZ. So I actually, in my head, I could do this because I was dealing with larger chunks of time. I figured out exactly what I needed to do and when I was going to do it. So for example, I had a couple clients last week. I had to fit those in. And then I also had to get to Costco. Well, Costco doesn't open till 10. And then I also needed to get everything to the school for the Friday dance, because since I was in charge of the kitchen stuff for Saturday, I had all of the food in my car. So my car was filled all last week with junk, and that was a pain because then I had to, when I went to the grocery store for my own family, I had to find pockets in my car to put things, and that was just a total pain. So it's like really first world problem. I totally get it here. But I'm saying practically, this is my life, and this is what I have to deal with, is hauling around crap and making sure things get to the right place at the right time so that the events can happen, right? So anyway, I woke up Wednesday and was like, oh my God, I have like no time left to do these certain things. So I plotted everything out, which kind of made me feel better because I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing at any given time. But the small part of me that's a free spirit kind of hated that too at the same time, because I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing at any given time, which is kind of restraining and freeing at the same time. So it's kind of mixed up. So you make a plan so you can make sure that you are getting everything done in time for the event or when it's supposed to be getting done. And also this allows you to like push off things that maybe really don't have to be done right now. Like maybe since the dance and carnival were the priority last week, like all the stuff I was going to do for, let's say, the 3rd grade dinner, which I'm also in charge of, I didn't really have to think about that last week. I could just like totally be like, that's an issue for a different time, because that event isn't until May or April. Maybe I think it's the first week of May. See, I don't even know because it's so far off. I'm good, really good. So the other things you can do, and I made a list so I would stay on target, because I have shiny object syndrome. Do any of you suffer from that, where I get a thought and I'm like, oh, who's following the shiny object? So I made a small list so I could stay kind of on track for you. So, all right, let's see. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about what I actually ended up doing, because last week my schedule was so tight, and I woke up Friday morning feeling kind of sick, and that's why I don't know if you can tell in my voice, I'm a little still recovering, got just a little tiny cold, and pretty much lost my voice, which was not all that conveniently timed. But anyways, I woke up Friday morning and there was something I was supposed to go to, and so I just canceled it, because I'm like, that is the one thing in my day that I can, like, in a perfect world, would I have loved to have gone? Yes. But in a practical world where I'm in charge of so much and I had so many things to do, did I really have time for that? Feeling as I did? No, I didn't. So I let it go and it was okay. And the people understood and they said, feel better soon. And I said, thank you. They knew how much I had going on. So it was totally cool. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is if you're feeling burnt out. And that's like super common because as a PTA, like super nerd as I am, I tend to take on way too much. Like I'll take on what other people don't want to do. And I'm like, oh, not a problem. Like I can totally fit that into my schedule and get that done. And it's great. Except for that, sometimes it's not great because it is just like too much. And so every once in a while I can feel like, ugh, I really don't want to do stuff. So when that happens, and like, especially after these two really big events this weekend, yesterday, I did nothing. I could have been working on that third grade dinner that I have coming up. I could have done something for it, but I chose not to. I chose to sit on the couch all day because my feet were throbbing because I'd been on my feet for so much the previous 2 days. Plus I need new shoes, but I haven't made time for myself to go get new shoes. And that is really sad, but it is what it is. So don't be afraid to take a break. And I'm not talking about like a 2-week break or a month break. Take 1 or 2 days just to not do anything PTA related or PTO related. Don't go into the school office to volunteer. Like don't, or just to drop in to see if there's anything that can be done. Cause sometimes I know it's a good habit for them because I always help out with things, but it's a bad habit for me because sometimes I don't get what I need to get done. And then the next thing you should do is after taking that break, you should ask for some help. And because people can't help, there's probably people out there who are more than willing to help you. And you might be feeling like, well, they're already doing so much, but there's a certain price to pay that you're willing to pay rather to keep your friend sane and not like crazy or not burn out. Like it's kind of, I view like all of this PTA stuff as a together we can sort of thing because nobody can run any of these events by themselves. Like that's just, after a while, it's just going to be really draining and take a huge toll on them. And they'll probably walk away from everything feeling really disillusioned when that's totally not the point. Like the point of all this PTA stuff is to have fun and to also make the kids happy and the teachers happy and the administrators happy. Now, getting everybody happy all at the same time, like that's a Herculean task, which probably you won't be able to do. If you can, you rock on, Miss Rockstar. Let me just tell you, you are the bomb. Tickety dog rather. But like probably just take it all in stride. So if you're feeling burnt out, you need to ask for help. You could try your spouse. They might take pity on you. Every once in a while, my husband feels bad for the situation I've gotten myself into and lends a hand, or maybe just gives me a back rub. Like that's awesome too. So you could try talking with definitely the other officers and committee chairs just to see if they could help pitch in and give them like a small but meaningful task to do. So just don't give them something you are unwilling to do because that is not nice and not fun. And but you want to make it meaningful so they truly feel like they're helping and you're not just giving them something so that they can feel better about helping you. The other place to ask. Now this one might not be so apparent, but what about that friend of yours that you always talk to at school, but they're not involved with PTA stuff for some reason? You know who I'm talking about, right? Now that I'm in the fourth year of my youngest schooling at the elementary school. So like we've been at the school for 8 years. I gotta say, I don't think I have any more friends like that. But when I first started out, I did have a few friends that I talked to, and for whatever reason, they weren't into PTA stuff. And so now I've worked to get them involved. Or rather, I asked for help with certain things, and then they're like, hey, this isn't so bad after all. And then they now are very involved. But there might be other people in your life that you see on a regular basis at school, or maybe on the soccer field, or maybe at a birthday party, whatever, that aren't very active. And actually, I'm thinking of a couple people that I probably could talk to, as a matter of fact. They're just not as many because generally people want to get involved in PTA stuff and have fun because they see what we're doing. But it varies at every school. So just look for those hidden helpers. Like, I'm sure they're all over the place. Well, not all over the place. That's probably an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Like, like, look, when you're taking your break, think about maybe who you could ask for help, because that'll make you feel better. So I hope that these tips are really helpful for you to like push through on to the end of the school year and not get overwhelmed, and for sure is not get burnout, because that is like the worst, right? So, and I'm sorry for my squirreliness this morning with the shiny object syndrome. Despite my best objects, I know I went off course, but that's cool. So anyway, I will talk at you again real soon. And if you have any questions or comments, shoot them below and I'll get back to you. Thanks.